Discovering the Horseman Within with Ken McNabb has been brought to you by Weaver Leather.
Accountability is one of those godly character traits that fits into horsemanship like a glove. Really, what is accountability? Accountability is being aware of my actions and being willing to take responsibility for the results of my actions. If I don't hold myself accountable, there's no way I can hold my horse accountable. And if I don't hold my horse accountable, he's not safe to ride. How do you hold your horse accountable? Well, let's make some simple examples. If I ask my horse to stop, he has to stop. Whoa isn't a suggestion, it's a command. So if he doesn't stop, then I have to hold him accountable for missing the cue, and I pick up on him, increase the pressure, cause him to work harder and say, hey, you missed the cue, you should have stopped. It's the same in our own life. There's lots of times when we should have stopped, when we shouldn't have proceeded with whatever it is we did, but we did, and now we're accountable for those actions. If I lose my temper with my horse, right, and I apply way more pressure way too suddenly, what's going to happen is that horse is going to get nervous, he's going to get hot, and I'm going to have to deal with the results of my temper. So in the end, I'm going to be held accountable for my actions by my horse. I think God expects us to hold ourselves accountable. He certainly tells us He will hold us accountable. He tells us actually in Scripture that we will someday account for every idle word spoken. So I try to think about that in my life every day. I try to ask myself, do I want to be held accountable for what I'm about to do? Do I want to be held accountable for what I'm about to say? If I hear this recorded back to me, recorded and played back to me, am I going to cringe or am I going to be okay with it? Several years ago, I came up with the concept of no regrets horsemanship. Actually, it was in 2008, prior to my trip to Road to the Horse. My thought was, I don't want to do anything with my horse that I'm going to regret later. And I try to look at that in my whole life. I look at my whole life and say, I don't want to do something here that I'm going to have to be held accountable for. I don't want to do something in my actions that's going to disappoint you and you're going to come up and say, hey, what did this mean? And I encourage people to try to live that way. Certainly we make mistakes. Certainly we have regrets. But if we ask ourselves before every action, is this something that I'm going to regret? Is this something that I'm going to be proud of? Then being held accountable for our good actions isn't an issue. It's only being held accountable for the stuff we regret. If we live our life in such a way that we try to have no regrets, then we know we're living our life in such a way that it's actually going to bring glory and honor to God.